We could have a chance of rain in the air at Zandvoort, but what's to come around this amazing circuit? Welcome to round number 4 of the F1 Academy Championship as they head to Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix Race 1.
Time. However, it was Abby Pulling who took her 5th pole position.
Yes, it was. Abby Pulling took her 5th pole position of the season in race 1. But for the first time this season, we saw 2 drivers take pole position. It was a rainy affair this morning, but it's nice and sunny here at the circuit at the moment. But could it change as we head to the middle of the race? The circuit first used in Formula 1 back in 1952. The track is 4.259 kilometres long and 17 laps the drivers have to negotiate today. The highest elevation change on the calendar, 8.66 kilometres, and it's been going for quite a long time, this circuit, and 2021 was when the Formula 1 cars returned. F1 Academy, well, they were here last year, so surely a lot of them will have some experience. Joining me in the commentary box once again, I'm Jess Ball. We've got Megan Birch joining me once again as well. Abby starting on pole this time. For the majority of the time, when Abby's on pole, she goes on to win. Can she do the same today?
I think she might be able to, though I am not liking the look of the sea line from, like, if you can see really far in the distance, there seems to be rain, so I'm not sure whether it will miss the track or not.
It could be. There is a threat of rain, like I was saying earlier, so the flyover must have happened when it was nice and sunny. But I could see some wind going there as well. There were a lot of trouble in turn 1 in FP2, and that is similar conditions to what we're going to see in the race. Yeah, I'm not liking those clouds at the moment. Here, just starting grid then from back to front. Ahmed Al-Kabasi in 16th. Emily De House will be starting in the back row with her in 15th. Bianca calls that red flag in qualifying. She could only manage 14th, with Lola Lovenfossey in 13th. In 12th spot, we got Tina Houseman with Carrie Schreiner in 11th, joining her in that row. In the next row, in 10th place, Jess Edgar, not the qualifying position she wanted, with Hamid Al-Kabasi in 9th. Hamida won last time in Zandvoort. Laia Block, great qualifying result for her in 8th. Chloe Chambers, disappointing for her in 7th. In 6th, we have Nina Gateman, one of our roll cars with Aurelia Nobles, her best qualifying result of the season in 5th. In 4th spot, we got the home favourite of Maya Rook. In 4th, we got Noreen Marty in 3rd. She's got quite a few podiums in F1 Academy, but can anyone stop them? Dorian Ping returns to the front row for the first time in a while, and as tradition dictates, Abby Pulling will be starting Zandvoort in pole position, but I know she's going to get challenged. And look at the threat of rain coming. It's not going to be that far away as well. Right, and of course, obviously, you two not living that far from the circuit. Technically, it takes less time to get to Zandvoort than it is to get to Silverstone.
Yeah, it's going to rain in 11 minutes.
It's raining now.
It's raining.
Poncho.
Oh, God.
Do you know, I'm going to join you in the box.
Oh, so we're going to have 3 people in the commentary box. I like this.
I can't resist.
I was going to say Josh B is in the pit lane.
Oh my God, I really want to paint that.
Yeah, and it is quite dark. You can see the shadows as well. How's that going to differ now when it's starting dry and is going to wet? Because in qualifying earlier, it was completely wet. Now it's going to be dry to wet, it looks like.
Well, can you see the lights already? There's almost like a shine around them as well. So this is going to be giving a really bad... Look how windy it is. The rain's coming in. We're 10 seconds away from the side of the track. And I think as well that they're going to maybe have to abort this start. They're going to go on the formation lap, but the rain's already started. They're on slicks. They might have to abort this start procedure.
Okay, on this formation lap, I'm just going to quickly check if there's any washing on our line.
I'll go do it now. You don't take it.
fair
because
enough.
It's
and
about to hammer it down
here. Formation lap, and we do see some drops of rain on the camera, so that is going to be interesting. I'm not sure if Omi is back or not, so I'm not going to bother him for this one because I don't want to throw to him and him run into the commentary box. But yeah.
Yes,
so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll get Omi's views once he's back, but if he's not back, then we're not going to bother, of course.
Look at the weather. It's
Looks like Voldemort is about to come over.
Brilliant.
Carrie Schreiner.
Brilliant.
I love that. I think that is the line of
Josh T. Said that to Josh T after he's done British touring cars.
Oh,
I'm not liking this, Jess.
she's now my favourite.
You can see how dark
like
it
it.
is.
Kathy Schreiner's a good character. She doesn't care where she qualifies. She has having fun. But yeah, I'm not liking this either. It's already, and it usually takes a long time for the rain to clear. But anyway, let's hear from our top three.
P3 for the next race. It was a really difficult and tough qualifying for us. It was really wet. Yesterday the practice were in dry, so really different from yesterday. We don't know yet if it will be raining or in dry conditions, but yeah, we will push to be on the top. And yeah, let's go for it.
I think race 1 today will be wet. The procast said that, so I believe it's going to be wet. I think it's positive because qualifying was really good, so we can aim for something good and to try to fight for the victory. Yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously I'll think about if we are doing a rolling start or standing start, the procedures that I'll go through and making sure I'm ready for it. But it's a long race, so there'll be a lot of time management, I think. It's quite easy to overheat these tyres, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be our first wet race of the season, probably the only one.
Safety car, aborted start.
Look forward to it.
They've aborted the start, Jess. They've aborted the start.
Oh, yeah, the safety. So it is going to be potentially a rolling start, as Abby was saying, potentially. It might not be a standing start.
And that's
because they've got to get the wet tyres on.
Toto Wolff just putting his jumper on there. Yeah, they've aborted the start because of the conditions. I think it's going to be a safety car start. Aborted start. Yeah, that's a very safe decision because they're on slicks, and the last thing you want to do is to abort a start. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is throw them off.
They're not even lining up correctly.
I've never seen this before, Jess, ever.
Let's listen in.
No, hence.
Huge wind.
Yeah. Of course it's windy. Look at the crowd.
Oh, my word. I've never seen that before, when they've aborted the start by coming to the grid with the safety car there.
Do you notice how the wind seems to have pushed them? They're not straight.
It's really, really hard.
Yeah, that was absolute, and it's a red flag now, Jess. They've red flagged the session.
They've not come into the box.
I'm not surprised.
So yeah, and the teams have been shocked. Look, that's McLaren having to come out now to put the wet weathering on to protect their equipment. Wet weather tyres coming out. Yeah, Bianca Bustamante, by the way, not able to take part in this race. Her car is too damaged after race 1.
I'm not surprised. That's probably why you didn't see if you were wondering, of course. I was sending Josh T the quote, and I'll get him to react afterwards as well. I still find that quite funny.
I bet she's very happy about not taking part, and yet that quote has now made me want to watch the rest of Harry Potter because I'm on movie 5 in my rewatch. So now I've just got.
Oh yes. Oh my God, I'm tempted to do a Harry Potter watch along, not gonna lie, at some point, because I love Harry Potter. And there we go then, the wet tyres are going on. They don't have Inters in F1 Academy, of course, they only have Inters in F1. In F2, F3, F4, no Inters at all, so it's just wetter tyres, and that's why the red flag is called, just to put the tyres on the car, because we don't want anyone to go on slicks in these type of conditions. It's better to start late than start on time and people crashing into turn 1. So there we go, that is the reason. And it's probably going to be like this tomorrow. Actually, no, it's not going to be like this tomorrow. It's going to be completely dry tomorrow, according to the weather forecast. Why did we get this in F1?
I know, imagine this was the F1 start as well, but they would just all peel into the pit lane and change over to Inters. And they'll just start the race at that point, wouldn't they? Delayed start is now the official information for the stewards. Wow.
Yeah. At least they were very quick at deciding that, but could they have decided that in the formation lap?
Yeah. Arguably, they should have called them into the pit lane rather than tell them to go to the grid. It would have been easier to into the pit lane. So, yeah, wet tyres.
I've just seen a few people in the chat saying why delayed start, and it is because they need to change their tyres.
Yeah.
That is why, for those of you who don't know.
there's no pit stops in F1 Academy, so they don't have pit stop people. They don't have that. So they wouldn't be able to manage 16 cars diving into the pit lane to change tyres. It would have been the strangest thing ever. Pulling's happy about that.
She's having the time of her life.
She loves the wet weather. Remember, I was watching her interview in qualifying, and she's already used to it because obviously in Britain it rains quite a lot in the races that she does. So she's already used to it. So I'm predicting that Abby's going to win this one because these conditions definitely suited her in qualifying, and so did Dorian as well. Don't know how long it's going to be. I think, do we usually get a 10-minute warning?
Yeah. So it'll be another 10-minute procedure. Maybe 5 because the cars are heated up already. So
yeah, potentially. Yeah.
It shouldn't be too long. Can't be too long.
That's here.
All right, we might lose signals.
Yeah.
Oh God, no. I'm not going to say about my weather because it'll make you guys absolutely jealous.
Beautiful sunshine, Jess?
Yeah, beautiful sunshine.
How dare you?
We've got the Zandvoort weather.
We get that in 2 hours.
We're literally coast to coast, though. That's why this is technically our home race. And that's why...
It is.
Yeah, because we're closer to Zandvoort than we are Silverstone. Which is bizarre.
Yeah, as I was saying at the start of the Grand Prix.
It really is bizarre, that one.
It is weird. Is it me or I see a bit of standing water already?
Yeah, I can see it. It's just come down massively.
Why are none of these people wearing their hoods?
They don't have hoods.
That one does.
What, guys, if you have hoods, put them on.
But as we saw Bernie Collins in practice yesterday, it just blows it off.
Oh yeah, because of the wind that they got at the moment.
Do you see the fact that the car was rocking on wind as well?
Oh.
Do a delayed start, as we've been told quite a long time ago. Pulling radio though.
Please blowing away.
It is, isn't it? Look at it.
She's British.
It is so windy that the brolly can't stay up.
And she's having to hold it twice as well. I wonder if
That is crazy.
Safety.
Yeah.
It'll be a rolling start, I think, with a safety car, if this is the case.
Yeah, it will. Or will the medical car just check to see the track's all right? Oh no, it won't, would it? It'll be weird.
Let's see what happens with this. We're going to get information. Further update in 5 minutes.
Helpful.
Not helpful, because we could have a podcast here.
Would you like to have a break and I'll throw over to the world feed? I have that option for you both.
I don't mind. Yeah, go for it. Let's hand over to the world feed with Nikki Shields and who's joining her? I don't even know. But yeah, Nikki Shields in the commentary box.
Moment there. Oh, they fixed it. Good old engineers. Right, yeah, there is obviously this pyramid, so you would naturally, most probably, go from F1 Academy across into F4, although it's interesting, I think 5 of the F1 Academy drivers have already been racing in British F4 this year, and then move up into F3, F2, and eventually we will see that first female racing driver in F1. Well, not first, but first in this generation anyway.
Yeah, just seeing race control, further update in 5 minutes. Just trying to look down the grid to see if any teams are doing setup changes, if they've been allowed, or is it simply just a tyre change from slicks to wets? Because you would tend to. Let's listen in to Maya to see what she's got.
So just for info, behind you there's a little tornado, basically over the beach.
That's quite ominous, isn't it? I'm not sure I'd want to be sat in a race car if there's a tornado just behind me on the beach.
Oh my.
No, I guess because we can't see the beach.
Yeah, again, the wind's changed direction. If you look at the flags, it's almost coming directly now from the coast. The drivers left as they sit on. These hardcore Dutch fans still staying to watch this. It looks like this guy in the anorak might need to hold on soon, being at the top of that grandstand. But yeah, the update is quite a smart move. I think they're just trying to see if this weather front is either going to get worse or kind of just pass by and just bring a little better weather. It's not too wet on the track at the moment from what I can see, no standing water, but the update will help us with that. They've obviously got some great data, and at the end of the day their job is to keep these drivers safe and make sure the conditions are correct for them to go racing in.
Yeah, Absolutely. Naomi, I'd love to get your thoughts on, you know, looking at the driver lineup. Who's really impressed? I mean, well, Nina Gateman's popped up, but for her first race, she really has impressed. Her first qualifying starting in 6th. But overall, looking at the series so far, Abby Pulling has clearly been dominant and is right at the top of the standings at the moment with 147 points. But who else has caught your eye on the grid?
Absolutely, Nikki, I agree that firstly, Nina, just to say a word on her, to come in, you know, these drivers already, this will be their 4th race weekend this season so far in these cars, some of them 2nd season. So for her to jump in and just be performing the way she has been this weekend, hats off to her. I remember seeing her at an event, I think she must have been 6, 7 or 8 years old at the time, and then she was karting and you could see how motivated she was, and it's great to see her here this weekend. And who knows, maybe in the future she'll have a secured spot on the grid, and I think this weekend is proving that she absolutely deserves one. Who's been impressing me? So I've got to say Abby Pulling, of course. You know, she's won 4 of the 6 races so far. So that in itself is incredible. And then she's obviously been converting that as well in British F4. So it's not just against the girls that she's winning. She's doing incredible stuff against the boys as well. Dorianne Pinn came into the season as the favorite. In Jeddah, she was lightning quick, and I think we thought that she really was going to be the one to beat. Unfortunately, from what I understand, she had an injury to her rib, and I don't know how much that's really impacted her performance, but you know, from the days that I raced in go-karts, I remember rib injuries. It's such a painful experience, especially when you're in the car. It can take the wind out of you. So she's obviously been suffering with that, but this weekend it seems like she's brought that form back. She's obviously going to be on pole position for tomorrow's race. So I think between her and Abby, they really are the ones to watch, particularly for the championship. I also want to quickly I know I've been rambling for a little while now, but say a little quick. I want to give a quick shout out to Leah Block, because obviously, you know, she's come into this year with absolutely no experience on circuit racing. She's done most of her racing off-road, and that is a huge change of discipline. So she's been progressing a lot. Bianca Bustamante has been having a pretty good season as well. Just overall, you can see there's a lot of improvement.
Right now, we just danced in the rain.
So that was Emily de Houch there saying, right now we should just start under safety car, which does seem like the obvious decision.
Yeah, you could see her mechanic dancing in the background. I think that was her talk back, just to try and keep the drivers calm. The engineers here always have too much time to kill, so they've just been keeping their drivers just a little bit calm and trying to help them out.
Well, Naomi, off the back of what you were mentioning there about Leah Block, sorry to interrupt with that team radio, but we did have the chance to catch up with Leah Block, and this is what she had to say about the circuit.
It's a really unique track, one of the coolest on our calendar, and just doing track walk, you really don't see the actual camber of the corners on the camera or anything, so walking it and driving it is really, really crazy. The wind will be interesting for sure, because every time we go out it should be going a different way, which will definitely affect our brakings or how we take each corner. And the sand, yeah, I mean, we didn't really get to experience that during the test because it was pouring rain the 2 days, but definitely make the racing interesting.
She really has had a brilliant trajectory over the course of this season, Leah Block. You know,
further update in 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and then we'll have another update for the race. So still no news at the moment, but they'll further update us in 5 minutes. Back to Nikki Shields.
Points there, so it's going to be exciting to see how and if that trajectory continues. We can see Jess Edgar there, who's going to be starting from P10 in the American Express car. She has had a mixed season so far, actually. Top result, a 4th place finish in Jeddah, but there have been a few races where she's finished out of the points with a 15th. But, you know, starting from P10 has put her
At a women's F1 Academy, they are playing It's Raining Men.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
So they were playing Queen earlier as well? I love the Dutch band, it's crazy.
They could have played Don't Rain on My Parade.
And the marshals are dancing out there as well. I just wanted to quickly say, by the way, a certain BBC presenter has been axed from the BBC show. It could also be axed from Formula E. But an amazing thing...
I thought he was already axed from Formula E anyway.
Could be, but this was an amazing thing. A BBC News reporter stood outside the BBC on BBC Breakfast saying that the BBC had not responded to a request for comment from BBC News about a BBC presenter being axed from a BBC show. So even the BBC can't get the BBC to talk. I think that is a load of BBB.
Oh, God.
I'll hand back to Nikki.
Atmosphere, I feel like we've seen a few marshals there dancing. I like to see that. Does that help lift spirits near me when you've got good music, good atmosphere, despite the rather treacherous conditions?
Yeah, I think they're doing everything they can out there to make sure the fans have something to stick around for, because obviously we don't know how long this delay is going to take, but I can tell you that the grandstand in front of me has absolutely cleared out, and there's a lot we can expect them to sit through, but this is pretty treacherous out there, and it's such a shame because so many fans did stay out there to watch this race. So it's a shame for the girls, it's a shame for the series, but I hope that everybody at home who's watching nice and warm on the couch or wherever you're watching from will stick around for this race.
Definitely. Maybe go make yourself a cuppa, but then settle back into the racing, because we promise you it will be non-stop. Now, we can see the number 9 car of Abby pulling, and we did manage to catch a word with her earlier in the weekend.
Fans are pretty crazy here. I love it. It's a bit of me. And they just are so raw and passionate. Their sea of orange, as we call them, it's so nice to see, and I've been looking forward to this race.
Yeah, the Dutch fans are the best, aren't they? That you can't really beat them in terms of just bringing... Oh, wow, that's dedication, isn't it? They're staying on for the bitter end. But yeah, the Dutch fans, they really do bring the party to the racetrack, despite these tricky conditions. So starting behind the safety car, what are the implications of that? Because ultimately, the race start is really where there's the most opportunity to capitalise on. So I'm sure Dorian Pan was thinking, well, if I get a good race start, potentially if I can take the lead from Abby pulling, then that's the moment you could look towards a win. But it's going to be harder starting behind the safety car, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It stacks it in the favour of people towards the front, and Abby pulling is at the front by the most, being on pole position. She gets the clearest air, so she'll have no spray once that safety car comes in, and it just spreads the field out ever so slightly more because you are able to control the start. It's not as fair when the lights go out. Everyone's got to react to it, whereas under a safety car, the leader becomes the idea when they want to go, and they can really choose it. It's a difficult circuit choosing when to go because it is such a fast approach to turn 1. If you go early, the speed is higher, so you generate a bigger slipstream effect behind you. But if you go too late, it's easier for the drivers behind you to work out when you're going to go and can maybe get alongside you. So it's going to be difficult for pulling. Like she said in her interview at the start, she'd already been planning for a rolling start. When would I go? I would probably be doing some heavy weaving into the final part of turn 13 and then floor.
5-minute update. Soon.
Again.
Yep. Again. Third time we've had this.
But hard to execute. That's the hard bit with a safety car start.
And then how much of the effects of the slipstream are we going to see, particularly down that start-finish straight? We know how fast it is coming in to that tight right-hander hairpin of turn 1, but we have seen slipstream actually really help overtaking in the past here. What about this track?
Yeah, because the cars are only 175 horsepower, the slipstream is a lot stronger, so you can make a big difference. The VMAX we were getting in qualifying in the wet was 230 kilometers an hour just before they broke for turn number 1. And if you're fully down or alongside, I would expect you to be able to get to probably 6 or 7 kilometers an hour of extra speed, so you can really slingshot past, and that obviously starts to factor and scale up. If you're the 4th car in the slipstream, you might be as much as 12 to 13 kilometers an hour faster than the car in front who's punching the hole all by themselves. So it will be an interesting factor, and it's definitely something we need to keep an eye out for at the start.
Yeah, well, definitely keep your eye on turn 14, because I think it was reprofiled in 2021 before the circuit reopened to basically increase speed, increase overtaking, because it now really is a proper heavy banking zone. Team radio here, let's listen to what Edgar has to say.
We need some sing-along songs.
What kind of sing-along, like? Mamma Mia, the sing-along version.
Yeah.
You can have a special edition of Max, Max, Super Max. Change to Jess, Jess, Super Jess.
Oh, I like it. Naomi, you any good at singing? I bet you are. You sound like you've got a good singing voice.
If I would tell you the truth, then I'd be taking myself out the closet. I'm a bit of a closet singer, if I have to be completely honest. I actually used to sing loads when I was in the racing car. Not when I was racing, but mostly in practice sessions. Yeah, I did actually.
Does music while you're driving help? I mean, is there, because of the engine noise, can you hear much else going on apart from the engine noise and the wind noise? Because obviously you've got your helmet on and your radio in. But if there are loud enough speakers, can you hear them?
Yeah, well, clearly they can hear them. I mean, the speakers out here are pretty...
While they're driving, though, in the race, would you be able to hear it?
No. You can't hear anything then, honestly. Everything's blocked out, and I mean, even the adrenaline just blocks everything out. You're so focused on what you're doing. Sometimes I think when you come across the start-finish straight and maybe there's the whole grandstand doing a roar, you might be able to just hear that. But with the engine noise, as you say, and also those noise-cancelling earplugs are really so great, you can barely hear anything.
Brilliant. Well, we won't be singing to them then as they cross the finish line if it doesn't make any difference. Let's have a quick chat about the female quotient, because they are a company, a digital company, media company, who are basically trying to find parity for women in the workplace. And that's why they have a collaboration with F1 Academy and have the wildcard driver with them this race weekend. But it's not just for this race. They will be part of the season going forward, which is brilliant to see, holding various events as well. So a lovely collaboration here between the FQ and F1 Academy.
Yeah, really good. The wild card is such a good idea, isn't it? It's really fresh. We've seen it throughout the season, add a bit of spice to it, and it just means that it gives another driver an opportunity and a bit of a shop window. Like Naomi said, maybe we can get Nina for a full season next year after such a strong showing this year. It would be really, really good to keep strengthening the field and maybe even start to get more and more drivers on it, and then you just get even more depth there, more winners, and then the racing just gets better as we see the rain really piling down, don't we? We've had 3 further updates in 5 minutes so far, so race control are just having to sit tight and work out what they can do. Have seen a few more setup changes being done. We saw actually Nina's car there earlier on. One of the mechanics, she had the engine cover off and was changing the roll bar, so how the roll bar interacts on the rear axle. You can change the length of the rods to stiffen or soften how the car can roll into grip, and in the wet you would soften that off. Just because there's less energy going through the car, you have to soften it to allow it to roll and find the grip that it wants to get round the corners. So I think all the teams will be getting their full wet setup on. Hard to do when you're on the grid. Your only options really are the roll bar that I said about, the dampers. You can soften them up so as they compress, they can take that energy a little bit easier. You could change the front and rear wings, add a bit more downforce if you think it would help. But for example, if you had an unlimited amount of time, you'd be changing the springs, the ride heights, the toe, the camber on the tyres to try and generate more grip in these conditions. But these fans just need to get on the track themselves. I think they're dry out with all the energy they've got. And I mean, it's nearly 5:30 in the evening local time, and they don't look like they want to stop anytime soon.
It's brilliant though. So many people, so many fans have stayed to watch F1 Academy. And earlier, I'm sure you saw someone jumping around in the Campos team kit. Gabriela Parra, who is the race engineer at Campos. And, you know, she is just one of the many brilliant ambassadors for women in motorsport, because she's a race engineer. She came back to work last year for the Barcelona race after 2 weeks after having a baby. She was pushing the cars into the pit lane while pregnant and then went straight back to work. And so it's just a reminder again, of course, F1 Academy isn't just about giving these 16 drivers the opportunity to shine. It's also giving everyone off track and behind the scenes the opportunity to get into motorsport as well. Yeah, it's just fantastic. I mean, Naomi, you must have seen it as well. It's not just the drivers, it's everyone behind the scenes. I remember going into a paddock a few years ago and you could potentially be the only woman around. I mean, that just is not the case anymore. It has completely transformed.
It really has. It's not just, as you say, it's not just the ladies in the cockpits. It's also the whole ecosystem in motorsport, I feel, has really changed over the last couple of years. There's been a couple of factors that have obviously helped with that. I think Drive to Survive has also been incredibly good to get motorsport as a whole into more and more households, and gives visibility amongst more people. And now, I mean, today the figures are astonishing in a very positive way. That, you know, today in Formula One, 60% of the audience is male, 40% of it is female, and those are incredible numbers, and it's trickling down. I mean, it's giving young girls more interest in the sport, and ultimately that's one of our biggest issues is we have far too few women entering the sport at grassroots levels, and that goes across the board from driving, engineering, mechanics, marketing, all of it across the board. There's just not enough women entering the sport, and that is really, really changing, and it's so positive to see because numbers are so important and they do make the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, it has to happen from a grassroots level, and then, you know, as we grow with it, the pool of talent will grow too. I've got some friends who've got young kids. I mean, they've got 2 girls, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they always say, oh, listen to this.
I like watching the screen. There's like all these people dancing and stuff.
They are here for you, Chloe. They are dancing for Chloe Chambers and the rest of the F1 Academy drivers. I mean, they are literally, they have stayed in these pouring conditions to see you race, which is a massive credit to the series and to the drivers. But yeah, we've got some friends, and, you know, 2-year-olds and a 4-year-old, and they say, oh no, mummy, I want to watch the girls. How can I watch the girls race? And now we have F1 Academy, and they can. And they're so young, and they're requesting to watch this sport. So it really is going to change the future and change the face of motorsport as we know it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate and sort of echo Naomi's sentiment that I've been in motorsport all of my life. So I've seen the influx of females into motorsport, and because I'm competitive and I want to win, I just look at it simply of it's adding 50% more options of staff for these teams. So if we can recruit better, we have a better chance of winning. So it's just opened up all of the opportunities for the teams, but also the females within motorsport to work in those teams. So it's literally a win-win for everyone involved. And the motorsport, and a lot of motorsport at the moment, is in such strong health. We need the support to get more and more staff to make sure the quality of these teams keeps going, because if the quality goes up and my chance of winning when I get into a race car goes up, at the end of the day, that is what it is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is what it's all about. And so are the fans, though, of course. Now, let's take a look at some of the drivers who are towards the back of the grid. Amna Alcobizi here, we saw just a little bit sort of at the start of the show that she span in practice, or is it the qualifying session, down at turn 3. We've seen a mixed, I think, performance from her over the course of this season. What is it that she's got to do to kind of dig deep and really focus? Because actually last year she had a good season. She finished 6th. She had 2 wins and 2 podiums.
Yeah, and it's difficult. We saw a couple of spins in qualifying for her, and that's really the big problem, is when you make one mistake, it's then the second one normally follows quite quickly for a couple of reasons.
How to update in 5 minutes again.
And then you start self-doubting yourself as well, so then it's really hard to get
I've got to interrupt you there, because Charlotte Phelps from MP Motorsport is doing all the dancing for us. She's bringing the atmosphere, and that just needed a quick mention there. Back to you, Joe.
I think it's probably fighting off hypothermia at this point, isn't it? They are soaked to the skin. We're now down to 16 degrees air temp as well. So I think they're smiling through gritted teeth, in all honesty. But I think you've just got to embrace it and go. But yeah, we've seen how quick Amna can be. So the pace is there, and it's just trying to rekindle it, work with the team, work with your driver coach, just to see what you can do to find it. Because she's got great experience testing a Formula E car back in Saudi Arabia. So the talent's there, we just need to find the form.
Naomi, I mean, I'm sure you've got some views on this as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a really tricky circuit as well. I think Amna obviously has quite a lot of experience. She's raced in other series before. She raced in this series last year. But this track is, you know, it's quite a big pill for these drivers to swallow, and it's very old school-esque. You've got grass on the side of the track, you've got gravel traps, you've got walls everywhere, and if it's so important to continue to build your confidence in a car on a track like this, and for her to have a couple of spins will definitely have knocked her confidence a little bit, but she's got to not let that get to her. And it's so important as well for them to light the tires. I mean, the grip from one car to another car can...
Yeah, go on,
We've
Jess.
got an update. We are not going to be continuing for the time being. F1 Academy Race 1 has been postponed. The race has been postponed. I don't know when the race is going to be postponed to, but we will keep you up to date on JB Motorsports, and definitely the right decision there, because I don't think there was any way we could have got going.
It's way too wet out there.
Yeah, it's completely no-go, isn't it?
I love how they postponed the race right as the race would have ended originally.
You were literally just saying to me at that point.
True.
Yeah.
Right, okay, well, where do we go from here? Because it's the end of the day, so you can't postpone. Is it postponed?
Probably, surely, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Maybe they just might do a longer race tomorrow.
I reckon what we're going to have is Academy Race 1, followed then by Porsche, followed then by Academy Race 2. So Academy Race 1 is going to be like really early in the morning.
Will that affect anything?
And then we'll have Race 2, and then it'll be Race 2.
No, it could be earlier. Oh my God, I'm going to be busy tomorrow.
They've done this in the past, I think, with F3, where we ran Race 1 and Race 2 back to back.
Yeah, I was thinking they might do something similar, but obviously they can't.
Or tomorrow it starts early and it's double the length. But the fuel
so they could start at like 8.
Race 1 postponed. I don't know what that means. Are we going to run after the race tomorrow of the Grand Prix?
Oh, I hope not. I really do hope not. But
we're in Touring Car Race 3.
Yeah, I'm meant to be doing race 2 as well. But obviously, F1 takes precedence, so that's all right.
Well, this is a weird one, isn't it?
It is a very weird one.
When do you postpone it to?
You might have to send me the JSON files, Josh.
I was just thinking that, Jess.
Because I don't want you missing race 3, because you're already missing race 2. You're not missing race 3, mate.
We'll just send Megan. Megan will have her laptop, so we'll just send Megan on her laptop for the commentary. Because it's
exactly,
on YouTube.
We just won't have track audio.
Yeah. So
I don't have to be with my laptop.
What?
What?
I'm confused.
And basically, Megan, you'll commentate on your laptop from my room with the green screen. And we can have. Well, I think we can do track audio because we're on YouTube, so I might be able to. I might be actually. Yeah, Jess, it'll be fine for tomorrow. All fine. We'll just put Megan.
All good. Anyway,
we don't even know when it is.
Hang on.
Put Megan on the iMac.
Megan.
Yeah.
Stop terrifying me before we don't even know when it's postponed to.
Right, we don't even know when it's postponed to, so we're gonna end it there. Thank you for bearing with us, guys, whilst we were waiting for the stuff to go on, as the cars are getting into the support paddock as we speak. But we still got some action on JB Motorsports coming up for you soon with IndyCar Practice 2. That's at 5 o'clock. And then we got qualifying at 8:30 today. So make sure you join us then. We don't know when race 1 is going to begin, but we'll let you know on JB Motorsports socials and when you can find us. From us all here at JB Motorsports, we will see you very soon for IndyCar. Take care. Bye-bye.